All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about this powerful, almost invisible force that pulls on market prices. Think of it like a kind of financial gravity. It's called mean reversion. And once you get it, you'll never look at a price chart the same way again.
So to get started, I want you to picture something. What if every single market price wasn't just some random number floating around, but was actually attached to a giant, invisible rubber band? Just hold that image in your head because it's the key to this whole thing.
And that rubber band, well, that's mean reversion. It's basically the theory that no matter how high a price shoots up or how low it crashes down, it has this natural pull to return to its long-term average. It's mean. That's the center point the rubber band is always trying to get back to.
But here's where it gets really interesting. It's all about the tension. You know, when markets get all euphoric and prices stretch way, way up, or when total panic sets in and they plummet, that rubber band gets pulled super, super tight. And the more it's stretched, the more violent the snapback to the center is going to be.
Okay, so that brings up the big question, right? How do you even know how far the band has been stretched? I mean, to understand the snap, we've got to have a way to measure the tension. And, well, traders have a specific tool for doing exactly that. That tool is called standard deviation. You'll often see it represented by the Greek letter sigma. Now, don't worry, don't get bogged down by the math here. Just think of it as a ruler. That's all it is. It's a simple, standard way to measure how far away the current price is from its average.
So if a price is within one standard deviation, or 1 sigma, that's kind of the normal zone. About 68% of the time, the price is just hanging out right here. The rubber band is pretty relaxed, not a lot of tension. It's just business as usual. But when a price moves out to 2 standard deviations, okay, now things are getting interesting. We're in what you'd call the extended zone. You can almost feel that rubber band getting tight. And the pullback towards the average, it's getting much, much stronger. This is a real warning sign. And then, you've got 3 standard deviations. This is extreme territory. Seriously, statistically, a price should only be this far out less than 1% of the time. The rubber band is stretched to its absolute limit. So, the point is, a snapback isn't just possible here, it's statistically almost a sure thing.
Now, all of this works perfectly if that center point of the rubber band just stays put. But what happens if it doesn't? This brings us to what some people call the crypto anomaly, where the very average you're trying to snap back to is actually a moving target.
See, with traditional stocks, that long-term average, the mean, it's usually pretty stable. But in a crazy growth space like crypto, the tech is being adopted so fast that the average itself is constantly moving upwards. The center of that rubber band is literally on the move. And this leads to a really dangerous trap for traders. You see a price drop and you think, classic mean reversion. It's going to snap back to the old average. But what if it's not? What if the whole underlying trend just broke and the average itself has shifted lower? That's not a dip you're seeing, that's a whole new reality.
So this all sets the stage for what is basically the ultimate battle in the market. It's this constant tug of war between 2 totally opposite ways of thinking, both pulling that price in different directions.
On one side of the rope, you have the momentum traders. Their whole philosophy is the trend is your friend. They buy something because the price is going up, betting that it'll just keep going. But on the other side, you've got the mean reversion traders. They live by what goes up must come down. They see a super high price as a perfect time to sell, betting on that inevitable snapback.
So, who wins this epic tug of war? Well, a lot of the time, it comes down to just one thing: liquidity. This quote really says it all. If a market is thin, without a lot of buyers and sellers, that crazy momentum can keep going way longer than you think, often longer than a trader can afford to bet against it.
All right, for our last section, let's put all these pieces together. Let's look at the full life cycle of that rubber band snap, from the very first pull all the way to that final dramatic release.
We can really break down the anatomy of a market snap into 3 pretty clear phases. It all starts with a trigger, which then leads to an extension, and it all ends with the final powerful snap. So here's how it all plays out. First, you get the trigger. Some huge player, a whale, makes a massive move that creates the first price shock. Then comes the extension. All the other traders see this and they pile on, often using leverage, just full of confidence, and they push that price further and further out, deep into that 2 or 3 sigma territory. And finally, the snap. The buyers or sellers just run out, liquidity dries up, the tension is just too much, and that price snaps back violently towards its true average. Which kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about.
You know, we hear that phrase, buy the dip, all the time. But after everything we've just talked about, what does it really mean? Could it be that it's just a simple way of saying you're making a bet? A bet on the simple, powerful, and relentless physics of the market's rubber band?